In this video, we're going to demonstrate how you can use JavaScript and the events model in the grid component to add functionality that's not natively built into the grid. So you can see here we have a simple grid, and the grid component allows you to dynamically adjust the number of rows shown in the grid. But you can see here that this grid is displaying 3 new record rows, and currently there is no built-in functionality that allows you to dynamically change the number of new record rows. The number of new record rows is set at design time using this property over here. But in this application, we've added some new functionality that allows the user to dynamically change the number of new record rows. So we're going to show in the video how we added this functionality. So first, let's take a look at how we actually added this HTML markup over here. So that was done in the above grid freeform edit region. So you can see that in the above grid freeform edit region, we've got just our text prompt over there, and then we have a standard HTML drop-down control with values of 1, 3, 5, 10, and 20. And since the grid is initially set to display three new record rows, the entry here for 3 records has been marked as selected. We've given this select control a class of grid.styleEdit, which will translate into whatever the style name is, for in this case gradient edit at runtime. We've given it an ID of new records, and then we've said that in the onChange event we're going to call the set new records function. So let's next go and take a look at the definition of the set new records function. So here in our JavaScript function declarations, you can see that in the set new records function, we're going to be first reading the value of the drop-down control by doing get value single of the element called new records. So GVS is just one of the built-in functions in the Alpha 5 JavaScript library, and it's used to read the value of a control. And then we're creating a new JavaScript object called obj, and we're setting a property of this object called new record rows, and we're setting it equal to the number of rows that the user selected in the drop-down box. Now, this property name here is completely arbitrary. But once we've created object.newRecordRows, we can then pass that into the grid object's method called setStateInfo. SetStateInfo is a new method of the grid object in version 11, and it allows you to put information, any information that you want, into the grid object's state information cache, so to speak, and anything that you put into state info gets submitted on every single callback. So the state info object is a way of passing information back and forth from the client to the server on every single callback. Then what you can see here is we're also stuffing into a arbitrary property in the grid object, which we've called underbar new record rows. We're stuffing in the number of rows that the user selected in the select box, and the reason that I'm doing this will become clear a little later. And then finally we're calling the grid object's refresh method, which does a callback and causes the grid to refresh itself. Now, when you do a callback, when you do any kind of AJAX callback, the onGrid execute server-side event fires. So next we're going to take a look at the onGrid, the server-side onGrid execute event. But let's pause and pick that up in the next video.